that the Cobra makes 700 horsepower, just about at the wheels, close enough to call it 7. What comes next? What do I have planned for this next? The problem is that with great power comes a great amount of problems with it. As it stands right now, I have 3 major problems with the car. One of them being that the IRS bushings need to be replaced pretty bad. I'm getting a lot more wheel hop now than what I did before when I really get on it hard, and I don't really want to be snapping half shafts on this if I can help it. So that's something that needs to be addressed. The other problem too is that I still have the 10 spline input shaft on the transmission. I'm at the power level now where snapping that input shaft is a high probability. With enough abuse to the transmission, it will probably break it at some point. So the issue is to replace the input shaft as well with a 26 spline. The number one problem that I'm dealing with right now is the clutch. I mentioned this in the live stream that I was not sure how my clutch was going to hold up in the short term, and I knew that it definitely was not going to hold long term. I said from the very beginning when this blower went on and before it was dyno that the only thing that I was really concerned with was if the clutch was going to hold on the dyno. I said if I blow the clutch up after that, fine, just survive on the dyno so it can get tuned and get numbers for it, and after that I'll deal with the problems and repercussions that it brings. A lot of people may be wondering, why did you just have the clutch done at the same time? It's because I want to do the head cooling mod, I want to do the 26 spline input shaft. Neither one that I had at the time, and I didn't have the clutch for it either. Buying all that stuff plus the labor to get it all done on top of what I was already paying for everything else being done, it was just way too much over time. I needed a little bit of some breathing room in there before I went with another round of mods. It would have been nice to do all the mods at the same time, the input shaft, the bushings, and the clutch, but like I said, I'd already spent so much money on just the supercharger, the injectors, fuel system, all that. It was just a lot to take on at once. It hit my bank account pretty good amount to do all that stuff.
Please forgive me, Mr. Oinkbaum, you will be missed. There we are.
So it's nice to have a little bit of breathing room before I go about doing like the whole next round of mods. You know, I'd love to do it now. I mean, I could slam a bunch of overtime and get all the stuff a lot quicker. There's all kinds of different ways about doing that. And sometimes I wish, you know, there's just an easier way about just getting a bunch of cash all at once.
Go the hell with this. So we had to do it the hard way, hmm? $6!
So it pretty much was just, I'll do what I can right now and hope that the stock clutch will hold. As far as the holding, it's really not. If I do some pulls where I roll on the throttle, it's doing okay. It's when I go from a stop and really get on the throttle hard, it does not like that at all. And I've smoked the clutch twice in less than a week at the time of this recording since I got it back. The first time was taking off at a light. I just got on it pretty hard and I could just smell the smoke from the clutch. The other time was from I was coming home from work, brought the car to work that day, and I got next to it's either WRX or an STI. It was one of the two. Now that I look back on it, it may have been a WRX, even though I initially said it was an STI, but in the end, does it really matter? Because in this case, it didn't. I was at the light, and I kind of looked over at him, and I'm thinking, when this light turns green, is this guy really going to try and go? Because, I mean, I've had WRXs, I've had STIs. not talking shit to talk shit. I'm talking shit because I own them, and they're pathetic. They don't make shit for power, completely stock, and you have to put a lot of money into them to make a lot of power, because I looked into it, and that's why I never modded them, because it wasn't the point. But anyway, the light turns green and the WRX takes off pretty hard, so of course I can't let that stand. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to let because there's tons of Subarus running around where I live. I'm not going to let him all tell his little Subaru butt buddies that he just beat a Cobra. That's not going to happen. So of course I was forced to have to race them, so I did. So when I took off, I spun first gear, spun second gear. When I slammed second gear, the whole car kicked completely sideways, and the clutch is just blowing smoke the entire time. And with that being said, of course, I completely annihilated him. One of the guys I work with was a couple cars back, and he said, that was embarrassing. I'm like, yeah, I know, I kind of feel bad for that guy now. But, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, that's what you get. But the moral of the story is my clutch is not happy right now. I can drive around and it's fine. I can roll on the throttle like I've done in some of the videos, but if I went from a dig in first gear and just hammered on it, the clutch just goes up in smoke. So that's being rectified. So that brings up the other question too, of what am I going to do with the transmission, because I have three choices with that. I can put in a T56 Magnum, I can build the T56 that's in there, or I can do a 26 spline with the current transmission, with the current T56 transmission. Just do the 26 spline without building the entire thing. So I think ultimately that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do the 26 spline. I've heard the non-built T56 will handle a good amount of power, so I am going to roll the dice and see how that works out for me with that. So these are all mods being done in the off season. The place where I took the car before to have all the work done with the fuel system and the VMP Gen 3R, a friend of his also has a towing service. I've mentioned it before in videos and in the live streams that I've done. And it can be arranged for him to come to my house during the wintertime and pick the car up, take it to air and shop, get the IRS bushings taken care of, do the differential cover at the same time, since it's right there. Might as well get that done too. Do the 26 spline input shaft and do the clutch. Most likely going to do an RXT 26 spline clutch for it. I've heard those are really good clutches, really good pedal pressures on them. So I think I'll be pretty happy with that. It's absolutely great that the car makes this amount of power now. I have no regrets about doing the supercharger or any of that. But with that, of course, brings all the problems that I mentioned. So there's still stuff to get done with this car. It's not close to being done yet, because I want to be able to hammer on this from a dig, have it not wheel hop, and not have the clutch slip. Because right now I kind of have to baby it a little bit so that I don't run into those problems. So that will conclude this video. Let me know what mods you have going on for your Cobra or your Mustang or whatever project car you have. It's always nice to know what other people are working on, not just me telling you what I'm working on. I like to interact with as many people as possible in the comments. And if you made it this far in the video, throw it a like. It really